Hi guys. Well, today we're going to talk about canning, and we're going to can something that we really love. We grow zipper peas. They're a southern pea, and they're really easy to grow, really easy to shell, and they're really yummy. They're called zipper cream. Well, for several years the crop has had issues with either very low germination rate, crop failures, things like that in the area where they grow the seed. And to the best of my memory, I checked into this several years ago, they grow this seed in South America or Central America. But anyway, we have a market here in our little town that gets frozen food from Central Florida, and they had some zipper. There was a few zipper seed this year, and they planted zippers, and they have we have peas. But here's the thing: zipper peas, we pick ours where they're still real green. Ashley's going to come in on that, and you see these are really green peas. The little peas here are green, but you see that the rest of them are white. Well, that's because they're too dry. We don't let ours get like that. If we have a number of them on the plant that look like that, I'll go ahead and pick them. But when I shell them, excuse me, I don't shell them in the same bowl. I have a bowl set off to the side, and I'll put the drier ones off to the side, so that our whole bag of zipper peas that we put in the freezer is the green color, and then I'll have a separate bag that's dry. So because these are dry, the whole bag is basically very dry, we're going to can them. And so, of course, they're going to have to be pressure canned. And because they're frozen, the first thing we're going to do is put them over here in our big stock pot with some water and let them heat up, because I'm going to hot pack them. I don't want to cold pack them. It takes the canner too long to come up to the proper heat to do that. So we're going to put them over here, and we're going to hot pack the peas, and we're going to take you along with us while we do it. All right, we've got our water hot, not necessarily to a boil, but it's good and hot, and we're going to put our peas in there and then alrighty then. I don't know if she can get over them and look. Whoops. No, goodness, we left the label in there. I'll have to get some tongs and get that out. But anyway, once we get the label out of there, we're going to let that get heated real good through, come back to just a boil, and then we'll put them in our jars, and when we do, we'll bring you back. Go ahead. Okay, we are putting the peas in the jars. Whew, hot, hot, hot. And I got a little carried away, got sidetracked, and so the peas came to a big boil. But anyway, they'll be all right. So we're putting them in here, and then we'll come along and add the liquid to it. I chose not to put any salt in these. A lot of times I add salt, but I'm not putting salt in these. They can be seasoned when we take them out to cook them. And salt doesn't make it preserve it any better. It's just for flavor. So we'll add the peas when we cook them. Add it to the peas when we open them to cook them. Well, they'll be cooked. Open them to warm on them. So that's what we're doing. So we're going to debubble. Make sure that we don't, so that all the space is full. And okay, now we have our lids heating up in some hot water here. It's not boiling, it was just hot water. And you know, they say with the new lids you don't have to heat them up, that the compound, you know, is fine. You don't have to do it. But I just feel more comfortable. You know, whatever I grow takes my time, and if I buy it, it takes my money. So I just feel more comfortable heating up the lids a little bit, and the rings too for that matter. And you know, plus I've done it forever and ever, and I guess old habits are hard to break. So that's what we're doing. And then we're gonna wipe the jar rims really good, making sure. I don't think I made a mess, but you never know, and you just never know what was on the jar, even though you've cleaned it really well, even though I ran it through the dishwasher, you know, all of that. You never know what's there. So the thing to do is always wipe them down really, really well. Okay, and so now we're going to put the lid and ring on there. I love this little thing. It saves your fingers, I'll tell you. I went for years without using one. I don't know what I was thinking. Even after they, you know, when I first started canning, there was no such thing. But now that I went for years, even after they created them and didn't use them, I thought, I don't need that. And now I'm thinking, how dumb was I? Because it's a great little thing. Saves your fingers from burning up. So we're just putting, and I know it's finger tight, but I have absolutely almost no strength in my hands. So to me, cranking it down is finger tight for most people. So that's why I'm doing it as hard as I am, because I don't have strength in my hands. Okay, we've double stacked. This is a All-American, and I can double stack quartz in here. And we do it outside, you see, because it's just too hot to do it inside. This is a, I believe it's a Camp Chef heavy duty dual burner, and that's what we use out here. So we've got 13 total, double stacked, and we are about to close it up. Okay, what we've done now is we have put the lid on the canner. Our arrows are lining up on the side here, and when I close these, I do them the opposites, and then crank them down good. And what we're going to do now is wait for this to come back up to heat, and what will happen is it's got a gauge and a jiggler, a weight, okay, and so this will jiggle, but it's also has a gauge. I love this canner. I cannot say enough about All-American canners, and because we live 200 feet above sea level, we will do it at 10 pounds of pressure. And so, but I won't put the weight on.
It's dark, you can't see it.
Yeah. I won't put the weight on until this has started blowing steam, and it blows the steam for 10 minutes. And then we'll come back and put the weight on, and then let it get up to 11 pounds of pressure, and then we'll start our timer. Our peas are out of the canner. We have 13 jars, and so far all but one has sealed. So we'll see if that one does. If it doesn't, we'll eat it for supper tomorrow night. Because we had a little bit of peas left that, you know, that was no point in putting in a jar. So we'll have that for supper tonight. But anyway, we put them in the canner. We tighten the canner down. We let it steam for 10 minutes before we put the weight on it. We put it on 10 pounds of pressure and let it go for it. Once it started to jiggle and got up to its pressure, you have to let it get up to its pressure, and we did it for 40 minutes. And then what we did was turn the canner off and not touch it until it is completely, the pressure's completely back down to zero. Then I take the weight off of it, and then I loosened the screws on it and just opened it up and let it sit there for a few minutes with the lid just kind of cracked on it. And then we brought them in. And so this, I'm not, they're too hot. I'm not gonna pick one of them up, and plus I don't really want to move them, but they look pretty good. I think we had a little bit of siphoning, but not very much, and so that's a good thing.
Explain what siphoning is.
All right, siphoning is, there's liquid in the jar, and siphoning is when some of that liquid comes out of the jar. And you can see this is a culprit right here. I would imagine this is the culprit right here. So all the rest of them look pretty good and look pretty full as far as their juice is concerned. And that could have been several reasons. Usually that All-American canner is really good about getting it to its sweet spot really quick, and it just stays there. But today is the weather's not good. It's been rainy, it's kind of a little bit windy, and so we had a little bit of time getting it to its sweet spot, more time than usual. And so that could be one reason. And I could have overfilled it some too, because I was trying to pack as much as I could into the jars. So that's operator problems. But anyway, that happens from time to time. And it's not the end of the world. As long as your jar seals, you're good. Now, when these have completely cooled, I'll leave them here for 24 hours. And when they, before I take the lids off, then I'll take the lids off, wash the jars, because there was siphoning, I'll have to do that. Well, I would anyway, but I'll wash the jars off, and right on the top, what it is, I'll put zipper peas, and I'll put the date. And that way, nobody's confused when I tell them to go out to the area where we store our canned goods like this. When I say get zipper peas, there won't be any question about what that is. So anyway, plus you may forget, you know, if it sits there for several years, a jar gets pushed to the back and you're like, I don't even know what that is anymore. If you've written it on the lid, you're good. All right, so I thank you for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed our video on canning southern peas, zipper cream peas. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe, and you have a very blessed day from Pemberley Farm.